which is priceless anyway. So no matter how the temperature is and the hot conditions and everything, players need to warm up. That's what they do. Starting their warm-up lap, led by, as always, the Professor Holger Broich. So far, it's been a very positive trip for the Bayern Munich camp in Asia, in Japan, and so far in Singapore as well. They've seen lots of friendly faces. That's what Thomas Tuchel was referring to. And he was referring to Singapore as the city of the roof terraces. It's not his first trip, but it's the first trip with Bayern Munich. But he's been here with the other teams so far that he coached. And he always ended up in roof terraces. That's what he said. And it's always been a beautiful sight. Very clean, very beautiful, very well organized city. And Bayern took the chance the other night to go out for dinner on a roof terrace. And they absolutely enjoyed it. Some players just can't do without a ball. Even in and during the warm-up laps. We were talking about the importance of warming up properly. Sometimes the temperature can be a bit deceiving, giving you the feeling that you're hot anyways, but it's not how your muscles feel, and pretty much the inside of your muscles. They have to be warmed up. Going through those warm-up procedures. Bit of stretching afterwards probably before the players can actually start to work with the ball and get into those practice drills. Well, just like the other day when they were practicing in Japan, it looks like the stretching has already been performed a bit. So here we go with the ball. Rounding off the warm-up by rounding the dummies a bit and getting into some fluid motions, activating. Konrad Laimer up front, one of the new acquisitions for Bayern Munich. Obviously, the headlines were grabbed by Min-jae Kim, South Korean, this transfer period for Bayern Munich, as he is probably the most prolific new signing so far. And he's now part of that central defense where a lot of competition is going on with Matthijs de Ligt and Upamecano, obviously. Then there's Kim. But there also is Benjamin Pavard available for that position. So pretty much 4 players for 2 positions only. Having said that, Thomas Tuchel can always opt for 3 at the back. And he can only do so if he has, well, 4 central defenders to his disposal, because otherwise one injury can pretty much change everything. offensively with the departure of Sadio Mane. The picture becomes a bit clearer now on the wings particularly. So at the press conference, the talk was more about Coman, Mane and Serge Gnabry. No, Coman, Sané, I beg your pardon, and Serge Gnabry. But obviously players like Choupo-Moting, also Mathys Tel, Thomas Müller, they can play on the wing as well. Then there are the youngsters like Vidovic, for example, were able to play that position as well. So generally, Thomas Tuchel appeared to be pretty confident as far as his squad was concerned. Being able to compete on pretty much all fronts. And those practice drills, if you're playing yourself, no matter which level you're playing on, you might feel, well, that's pretty familiar. And that pretty much looks like those drills that we are doing as well. And we're performing as well, even though not everybody might not like every drill all the time. Sometimes they appear to be a bit boring or a bit demanding to some, running all the time, back and forth, rounding the dummy. But, well, they are activating, they are giving you ball handling skills. And what's most important about those ball handling skills is obviously to not thinking about the ball while moving it around obstacles. That gives you the freedom to get your head up and to look for your teammates or to look for options. So that's the end of that drill. Now a bit of stretching. Professor Holger Broich keeping an eye on the players. The sports scientists. We're talking about Josip Stanisic as one of the options at fullback. But Stanisic is also a player, for example, that can play in central defense if need be. So the next drill, explained by one of the coaches. Looks like it's a bit of a dangerous spot there with the blue pole. These players coming in full speed, trying to not run over themselves, their teammates. Jamal Musiala, the goal scorer of the decisive goal in the end, giving Bayern Munich the championship in the Bundesliga. Sometimes from the outside it looks a bit complex, but that's what you also want to have as a coach with your players. You want to have them thinking, you want to have them alert. You don't want to have them fall asleep pretty much thinking, well, yeah, it's the same drill that we always do, and then move to the right, play the ball to the left and whatnot. You want to have them move a bit differently. You also want to monitor them. Are they paying attention? And no matter what the coaches are throwing at the players here at Bayern Munich, they always seem to understand and seem to listen. First try. Chance for a first break. Like I said, the humidity is really demanding. High temperatures, so you need to rehydrate on every occasion. There's a view at the terraces. Not the roof terraces that I was referring to earlier, obviously, but here the terrace where you can watch the pitch, the training pitch. Quite a lot of fans in attendance already. So the first colored jerseys are being handed out in order to separate a couple of groups, to get more into the game-related action, if you will. And the water fountains, well, maybe they are able to actually cool down things a bit pitch side, but as you know, it's also very important to keep the pitch a bit wet in order to prevent injuries when players are sliding, and to make the ball a bit quicker for the passing drills as well. And no matter which training session we are reporting on from Bayern Munich, you can see this drill or some variations of it pretty much all the time. Players in the middle, players on the outside, with three colors, like orange, blue, and the black color. It gets a bit more complex, but we were talking about this as well. It's also something you want to have all the time. You want to keep your players thinking. They have to be alert, so sometimes the orange belongs to the blue, sometimes it doesn't, sometimes it belongs to black, depending on the situation. And you want your players to know what's going on and to know what to do with the ball. And this drill is pretty much fantastic because it teaches so many things defensively for the players inside the circle, but offensively, most importantly, it teaches you to think about where am I going to put the ball before I have it, so you know exactly what to do when you have it, because you're not going to have time while you're on the ball. Sometimes it's just one touch. That's also a rule that might apply every once in a while, to just play it one touch. And sometimes you're allowed to have two touches, sometimes as many as you want to. So you can always put a bit more spice and a bit more level of difficulty into this drill, which is a really classic one. You can play it starting at, well, pretty much 3-on-1, which is pretty hard for the one inside the circle. Some might say pretty much impossible. So it starts with 3 against 2. And you can add more and more numbers, pretty much as many as you want to. And after winning the ball, you can see it here, the black team gets out of the circle. The blue team has to get in there, but now the black team lost the ball again, so they have to get into the circle again, while the orange always stay on the outside. Focus on Serge Gnabry. Also gives us a good idea what it's like to be involved in that drill, because you have to stay in motion all the time. Be active. Well, it can be frustrating too. After winning the ball, after running for the ball for minutes, and you finally won the ball, you only stay on the outside for a couple of seconds before one of your teammates loses the ball again. Well, we are seeing a drill for the goalkeepers real quick. About a couple of shots to Jan Sommer. After being drilled for more of that, well, we could call it the back pass options. Staying low, playing the ball back and forth, and then being ready. Jamal Musiala, we were talking about him earlier as being the goal scorer everyone will remember from the past season. He's also one of the brightest talents in German football, without a doubt. Turned 20 years of age at the end of February. And here's Thomas Tuchel. His first preseason with Bayern Munich after having entered the head coaching job mid-season. Which was always a tough task. Coming to a team without being able to prepare with them, getting your ideas through pretty much on the fly, was always making things difficult. Now it's different. He also has a say as far as transfers are concerned with the transfer panel that Bayern was introducing after last season. A couple of scenes from the past with Louis van Gaal, with Arjen Robben. But I think I'm right in saying that there's Matthijs de Ligt as well, so it's the past and the present for Bayern Munich. The next hydration break. It's always going to be a demanding practice no matter what, and particularly in preseason, you want to get the players pretty much to their limits in order to really get the substance that you need during a grueling long season. There's not going to be a World Cup this time mid-season like it was last season, which even made things more complicated with the short winter break and everything. But we were talking about this earlier, that the German national team, for example, they're going to travel the United States during those national team breaks during the season. So the players that are involved in that are going to travel a lot. Other players that are going to go to their respective national teams are going to travel anyways. And that's not going to make things easier as such. Benjamin Pavard that Thomas Tuchel rates really highly. He's versatile. He can play on the right, play in central defense, even though he personally probably would prefer playing in the middle. So here's the next drill. 3 colors again. That's going to make things interesting. So we're starting with the black and the green together against the red. So now it's the black and the red against the green. Or is it green or is it more of a bright yellow? Well, you can judge for yourself. And that's definitely a good drill if you want to get your whole squad involved, no matter how the numbers are. You can also be, you don't need even numbers to compete. So everyone is involved, all players together on one station of that training drill, apart from the goalkeepers, obviously. And it counts. Every time the ball is played out at one of those corners, it counts for one team. Then they have to go to the other side of the pitch. (6-3) the final score of that particular drill. So on to the next one, as it seems, as two coaches this time are explaining the next routine. Well, you can tell it's very competitive. There's discussions going on about a certain situation. Why was the decision this way or that way? And here's Thomas Tuchel sitting on the ball. I was talking about this at the other training session. Back in the days, that was forbidden. You were not allowed to sit on the ball. When the balls were made out of leather, they would definitely change their shape towards more of an egg, but it's not anymore. Not these days. A really good get, this from Joshua Kimmich. So it's definitely a very complex, demanding and competitive drill. So pretty much exactly what you want with your team as a preparation. So don't forget, tomorrow Bayern Munich will play Liverpool FC here at Singapore. And that's definitely going to be a game to look forward to. And that's it for today's practice session. Thanks for joining us today. I hope you found this interesting to see your players, fellow play, and your favorite players up close. And if you ever have the chance to get to one of the practice sessions of Bayern Munich, be it at a preseason tour or if you are at Munich at Sebener Straße, make sure to take that opportunity to get really close, get some autographs, get some selfies, and get an impression what it's like for those players to practice every day. So that's it. Thanks for joining us, and we'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.